Roofing is generally a pretty boring industry. It doesn't get a lot of news coverage, not a lot of people talk about it. They just want their roof to not leak. Over the July 4th weekend, it was a little different where it made big time news. We saw in New Jersey a BJ's Wholesale club collapse from too much water being on it. I want to talk a little bit about that today, see if it could have been avoided, what happened. Luckily, no one was injured, but pretty dramatic video. Let's jump into what we have here today. All right, Chicago, welcome back to another edition of our YouTube channel. I'm Jim with Anchor Point Roofing. Today I want to talk about ponding water. That water that sits on your flat roof can cause a mess, or like we saw this week at BJ's Wholesale Club, a complete disaster. Let's talk about when it's dangerous, when it can be alleviated, when it cannot. First of all, ponding water. It's water that sits on your roof, typically more than 48 hours. We'll talk about the 48-hour rule, but what the damage is and what it can do, how it can be alleviated. So here, ponding water, it's water that sits. You can see this drain is sitting a little bit too high, just not able to get over here. So that's what we call ponding water. What's the problem? The biggest problem is weight. It can also degrade the membrane, but weight. 1 inch of water sitting on a flat roof is over 5 pounds per square foot. So obviously 2 inches, which we've seen up to 5 inches, can cause some pretty major stress on your building. So you want to keep your drains clean, you want to keep an eye on it. Structural fatigue, that's what we saw this week. We're going to show you the video from BJ's Wholesale. The freeze-thaw cycle, when it sits there and freezes, expands, contracts, it can really work on the seams of a flat roof. One myth that we have out there is a flat roof is completely flat, and that's not true. So in roofer talk, we talk about pitches. A 45-degree angle is a 12 pitch. It's a 12-12. It goes down 6, 7, 5, 4. And when we get to what we call a 3 pitch, I was going to show you here on my app, it's called pitch factor. So basically when you get down, if you can see that, anything below a 3 pitch, you see the angle of my phone, anything below a 3 is what we technically call a low slope or a flat roof. Well, generally a flat roof will have even like a 1 pitch. So 1 or 2. It's pretty flat, but they're not completely flat. They're called a flat roof, obviously, but you have a little bit of runoff because you want to shed that excessive water. An 1/8 inch to a 1/2 inch per foot. We kind of think about a quarter inch per foot. So every foot, it's going to drop a 1/4 of an inch. That will give you some nice watershed on your flat roof. What are some of the things that we can do to prevent it? I mean, look at this one. Wow. The drain is probably clogged or sitting a little high. I can't believe we don't see any ducts on that one. Here's another small, just flat roof. I can tell this is modified bitumen, but right in the middle is just ponding. It's pretty obvious, just not making it to the gutters there. July 26th, here's what I wanted to talk about of this year, July 6th, 2026. If you saw the video online of BJ's, the roof collapsed because of this. Now, there's been investigations. There hasn't been a roofer or someone, an engineer, that has actually come out and said what happened, but we can speculate. I could give a few reasons. They may not be 100% correct, but I can speculate pretty good on what it might be. Here it is. You can see in the background where it started to collapse. Kind of made this guy a little famous. BJ's roof caves in.
Jaw-dropping video of the roof collapse from inside the Ocean Township BJ's Wholesale Club. Watch customers go running as a wave of water starts knocking.
Wow. I mean, pushing everything out of the way. Absolutely crazy. So I've never seen a roof collapse because of that, but I've seen some very heavy ponding. I've seen trusses and joists displaced where the roof is lowering, but I've never actually seen one collapse, and I hope I never have to see it. Here's a roof we've seen. Here, this one has almost 4 inches on it. This is a repair we're actually just doing this week. Same thing, it had lots of ponding water in this area, but it was able to get under the membrane, rotted out the joists and the plywood, made a terrible mess. Here's my guess, and I don't know this to be true, but this is my guess about BJ's and what happened. It's important, obviously, to have a maintenance checkup, but a lot of these flat roofs, especially commercial roofs, have a drain, where the water flows a lot of times through the building through a pipe. If this gets clogged up, these are called scuppers. Well, you can see in this picture, it's a great example. These are overflow scuppers. So obviously the water is going to go in here before it's going to hit the overflow scuppers. If you look at a commercial building sometimes you'll see just a hole that's maybe even that, 8, 15, 12 inches higher than the actual roof membrane. And what those are, they're like a relief valve. They're called overflow scuppers, and they're not to be used only in emergency. You don't have control as to when they're going to be used, but imagine this clogging up, debris, dirt, beer cans, whatever's going on up here. So once it gets high enough, it's going to start running out the overflow scupper. And I've seen it a couple times where it looks like it's just gushing out the side of the building. It's not caught by a scupper. Usually it's just an open box. And I have seen that a few times. But if this gets clogged up and there are no relief scuppers or no overflow scuppers, that's when the problem can happen. So that's my guess. There was a roof drain or a scupper that was clogged, maybe by a football or something, and big time problems. Here's one that is in the city. So you can see the little anchor buggy down here. We weren't checking this out, but we were checking out another building across the street, and we happened to see this. So this is Potbelly's, if anyone knows. It's the 1600 block of North Clybourne. They need to take a look at this roof. So here's a little bit of the ponding. It hadn't even rained for a couple days when we were up checking the roof across the way, but you can see it's building up a lot. I don't know, but I'm guessing there's probably 3 or 4 inches of water right there. If you happen to work in the Potbellies at the 1600 block of North Clybourne, I would ask someone to come out and check the roof out. Just saying. And after the roof, or after the rain and stuff that we had over the July 4th weekend of 2026, it was crazy. It came down in buckets. I hope this roof is still holding together. That's it today for ponding water. It kind of made the news, something we talk about almost every day here at Anchor Point. It can't always be avoided when you're re-roofing a building with an existing structure, but we do what we can to alleviate. Crickets in the corner. If it's really bad, we can put a tapered insulation system on the entire thing. We do try to keep it in mind, but in some instances you can't get rid of all of it. But homeowners and business owners out there, I want to say, get your annual roof inspection, get the roof drains cleaned, especially if it's a big commercial. Do your due diligence and make sure what happened at BJ's Wholesale doesn't happen to you. Thank you so much for watching, Chicago. I appreciate it, and I will see you on the next one.